already felt emotional before we started, but that's okay because I'm talking about someone who means just a great deal to me and my family. So I was introduced to Mr. Pick, as Don mentioned, in my freshman year of high school at Oak Grove. And Mr. Pick had somewhat of an infamous reputation, you should know this, among the incoming freshmen for having extremely high expectations, you know, being this mean, just strict, you know, you don't want to have them, like, watch out for Mr. Kick. He even met with all of our parents, actually, of the incoming freshman honors class, and my parents came home scared. They were like, yeah, this is going to be rough. So it was kind of funny, but, and his reputation proved to be well-deserved, though I soon realized that his high standards resulted not from a lack of concern for his students, as some may have assumed, but from a genuine belief in the ability of our students. As my honors English teacher, Mr. Pick taught me to work hard and to write well by challenging me beyond anything I had previously encountered. During my sophomore year, Mr. Pick was no longer my teacher, but he took on the role of my mentor. As a fellow Oak Grove alumnus, Mr. Pick always spoke about the excellent teachers he had during his high school years and how much they shaped his ambition and his future, and he strove to do the same for his students. He continued to be my mentor and my unofficial guidance counselor throughout high school, pointing me towards various scholarship and college opportunities, advising me through life challenges, and providing his classroom as a safe place to spend time with friends. As a result of Mr. Kick's influence in my life, I became a more competent and hardworking learner and a leader among my peers. He inspired me to love the English language, and not coincidentally, I am now an 8th grade English teacher and writing tutor. The greatest difference Mr. Kick made in my life, however, was during my senior year of high school. That year, while I was taking Mr. Kick's journalism class. Thank you.
Hi, guys.
And acting as editor-in-chief of a school newspaper she oversaw, I was suddenly diagnosed with a rare and aggressive form of cancer. The aggressiveness of my cancer made it impossible for me to attend school. Instead, I had to abruptly withdraw from high school to undergo months of intensive inpatient chemotherapy. Because I was extremely weak and sick during this process, I was removed almost entirely from the hassles and complexities my parents had to endure to ensure that I still graduated with my class. As I later found out, Mr. Kick was an integral part of this process. Mr. Kick convinced my high school administrators to let him homeschool me for no pay, also that I would still be able to graduate on time. At extreme personal sacrifice to himself, Mr. Kick spent hours driving to visit me in the hospital to keep me up to date with my schoolwork. When I was too sick to work, he found alternative ways for me to complete assignments. All the while, Mr. Kick was spending time with my family and caring for their needs as well. And he means a great deal to them. In fact, they wanted to protest the fact that they can be here today. But they consider him practically a part of our family. All my relatives do. He's just made a huge impact in all of our lives. With the help of Mr. Kick and my family, and my husband Zach, I was able to graduate. And even after I graduated, Mr. Kick remained involved in my life. He wrote me college recommendations, helped me find scholarships, and continued to advise me in my studies. I was and am still in awe of Mr. Kick's generosity and compassion for me and my family. Although he was my teacher, he also empathized with my suffering and helped me to become a more compassionate individual. I want to educate, care for, and inspire my students in the same way that Mr. Kick does for his. He's a truly great teacher, and person and deserves to be recognized for the impact he has made on so many students' lives.
Ever since 2002, every Friday we had a vocabulary quiz. All my students asked me, and Julia, who was another person who sits in the back with my wife back there, asked me, why is it every time you say B, you say B as for Becky? That's why. There are so many people at the bank, and if you ever have a student like Becky, you know why. You don't do this job for money. It's so much fun. I had great teachers. I was hoping Steve Frank could be here tonight, because when Tim Allen first called me, the first thing I thought of when I heard this is, oh damn, I should have nominated Steve Frank. He was my teacher, and my freshman year, within 45 minutes, I had the worst teacher I was ever going to have, and I finished up the day with Mr. Frank. And he was the best teacher I had, and I taught next door to him for 26 years. Great teacher, taught me every day, teach the kids who show up. If they come into your room, you got a shot. So teach those kids. And then the other thing he said this when he teaches me how to fish too. Know when to quit, but don't ever give up. You need to know when to quit. Maybe the fish, but you need to, And he said the same thing about teaching. I really need to thank my wife, who's so wonderful and supportive in all this. I just been married 6 years. Before, and my younger brother Russ, who was also one of my students, will attest to this, that when I lived less than a mile away from school, we had a lot of kids at the house. Kids would come by my house all the time. When Russ went away to college, they actually thought that it was better because now Russ wasn't there, so they could have that through. Mary has accepted all the kids who come by our house, even though now we live in Menlo Park and it's a far trip. When they show up now, they had to work to get there. So I really want to thank Mary for that, for accepting all that. My father-in-law, Hank Kiekler, is on the Hoover Institution's Educational Board, and every time I see him, he challenges me about, okay, the charter schools are doing this, what you guys are doing. How are you going to catch up? And he keeps me so thrilled about my job that I can't thank him enough. And my mother-in-law Suzanne and my other mother-in-law Alice, wow, they took a teacher in their family. Thank you. I don't know that I could ever be a teacher without this. My mom died, so I'm going to get weird about this. My mom died. I got to raise Russ. What a joy. His wife is there. They're pregnant. It's so cool. So this is a long way from all those sweaty football bus ride homes. Thank you very much for Tim Allen. It was so much fun to have you in my class. Last year's students still think you're a campus cop, so